All right, and we are live. So check 1 2 1 3 check. Can you hear me? Okay. Awesome. Welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our stream. We're gonna talk about a new social media platform that's launching, built with blockchain technology. That's gonna be a big opportunity for developers and what you need to understand about this. Okay. We're going to look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in this space since yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. You're going to find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to check on the crypto markets, check some of the trends on chain, answer some of your questions from the live chat here, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got technically Above Realty, Bazinga, Inside the Portal, Martin, Michael, Landon, let's see, Christian, Tebo, Eric, Automatic Beats, Sunil, Todd. Welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about this new social media application powered by Web 3.0 built on blockchain. And how it can be a big opportunity for blockchain developers, people watching this channel. Okay, so let's just dive into the details here. So we've talked about this application some in our past live streams, and it's been coming, and it's finally here. Okay, so what is it? Well, it's the Lens protocol. Okay, this is a decentralized social media protocol. Let me see if I can resize my screen so you guys see this better. That's built on blockchain powered by NFTs. So basically, it's a composable social media platform, which essentially means that you have an NFT that governs your decentralized identity, and that gives you all these kinds of benefits with blockchain, like the ability to transfer your social graph between different applications. It also means that people can build different social media apps with this protocol. So it's sort of like a base layer for social media, and then you can compose it and build all these different social media apps that are all powered by the same thing. Because think about this is problems with social media now, like identity management. So, let's say you're on Facebook and you create your Facebook handle. What happens is you give Facebook all your information, and then they maintain all this information about you. They sell it to advertisers, do all the type of stuff. You have to give them username, password, you hand all your data to them. And then you have to do that again when you go to Twitter. You got to do it again when you go to, Instagram. Maybe not Instagram because it's owned by Meta now, but in a world where you have all these different siloed social media platforms, it sort of removes that, because whenever you're a user of Web 3.0, you're a user of the entire network, just not the applications themselves. So you could basically get a single identity that has long-term potential, I stress potential here, to help you do things like retain more of your own privacy. Okay, now I'm not quite to that level yet, but that is some future potential. But what are some instant benefits you can get right now? Well, your social graph could move in between networks, right? Let's say that you have friends on Facebook, but you're not friends with them on Twitter. Then you could automatically get that connection, that social graph, anytime you move in between applications if it's all running on the same protocol, because you're not just a user of that individual app, you're a user of the entire network. That's a big paradigm shift from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, okay? So let's talk a little bit more about the details of this launch and how you can participate, but also why it's a big opportunity for developers, because you definitely want to tune in for that. Okay, so let's see. So software development company Aave, a lot more than that, launched its Web3 social platform powered by NFTs. It claims to be an alternative to traditional social media. It's called the Lens protocol, the site I was just showing a second ago. The open source tech stack allows developers to build Web 3.0's powered social media apps, marketplaces, and recommendation algorithms. So social media has remained relatively unchanged over the last decade, due in part to content being owned by a company. So they were talking about here. Of course, we got Elon Musk in a bid to buy Twitter. We're seeing a lot of attention around Web 3.0 and social media. So Lens will be the infrastructure that gives rise to the golden age of Web 3 apps. So for the first time since the internet has been born, people can finally own their accounts and all their content without an intermediary. All right. So let's talk about a lot of the benefits that we are talking about before. So basically, signers of the Lens open letter will be able to mint their profile to begin interacting with the first protocol-powered apps on Polygon. So that's live today, all right? Roughly 50 applications have been built on Lens so far, including social apps and creator monetization tools. So we got all the features that we just talked about here, but now it's basically live. So if you want to participate, you can go to the Lens.xyz website. Now it looks like I haven't done this yet because it literally just came out. But it looks like if you want to claim your handle, you have to have signed the Lens open letter before May 5th. All right, you can check your eligibility here. So let's see here. All right, let's talk about the opportunity for developers, because this is a brand new thing that's popped up here, and they are inviting developers to build new stuff for this ecosystem. Like that's where a lot of opportunity pops up in blockchain, is when you have this sort of novel thing, this untouched land, okay, that has future growth potential, and then like nothing's built on it yet. And a lot of times you can just get the easy stuff built on top of it, right? That's not that complicated. You have to like rack your brain and figure out an idea. It's like, okay, well, what's this idea that exists over here? Just built it here. It's like whenever we started using smart contracts on blockchain, it's like, okay, you could just build the simplest stuff, and it can be a valid use case because nobody's done it yet. Like if you want to build a cryptocurrency, like just build a token, like a basic ERC20 token's like 40 lines of code or something like that. It's like not that much. Now, I know not lines of code is not always a good metric for how simple something is. It can be complex, but the whole idea is like, a simple primitive is not always challenging to build. So you have opportunity to do that here with this new social media standard because nobody's doing it yet. Okay. So another thing to understand is there's grants available for developers, and they publish this as well. They have $250,000 of grants set aside to build upon the Lens protocol. Okay. So, there's a lot of opportunity here. So here's how I think about this, depending on what your skill level is and what your goals in blockchain. If you're trying to build a side project in blockchain, like this is a good opportunity, but here's where it's a really good opportunity, is something that has multiple purposes to it. So if you're, let's say that you went after this with the idea of trying to get a grant, maybe to like make some money. You could go down that road, and you could see if your grant is approved. If it's not, you could just try to build an application that's actually useful on there, if maybe it's monetized that way. And if not, all right, let's just say you don't accomplish either of those goals. Like let's say you're trying to transition into the Web 3.0 space. Like if you have built something for this and you're trying to land a job, like it's going to have a hard time. Like most people are going to be able to take you seriously if you've done that, right? Like that proves that you understand the space, especially something brand new. That also shows a ton of self-initiative, for somebody who's gotten in and got their hands dirty and learned something new. That's what a lot of employers want to see, especially if you're breaking into the blockchain space the first time, whether you're a developer already or you're just learning to code from scratch. Is can you learn new things fast? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Do you understand the space? Are you going to hustle, or are you just like entitled? So that's like, if you do this, you know what I mean? Like that's definitely going to be an opportunity. Now, if you already got a battle plan together about how you're going to build your portfolio and jump into the blockchain space, you don't have to get distracted and have like shiny object syndrome and say like, I'm going to do this now, right? But if you're sitting on the sidelines and looking for an opportunity, this could definitely be a good one because, hey, it's brand new, EVM compatible technology. So all the skills you learn at Dapp University are applicable here. It runs on Polygon, but that's EVM compatible, Solidity programming language. They're looking for lots of different stuff. You know what I mean? You can check out the site to see the types of things that they want built. Because that's what a brand new ecosystem needs. It needs features, it needs integrations, it needs the things that gives it value. Because at the end of the day, also what gives social media value is the network effect. And so we need more people to be onboarded into this for it to be viable in the first place. Now, we'll see what happens with this community. But the beauty of this is that it's a protocol, right? It's that this is not necessarily the app in and of itself. Like this could power multiple apps. And I've got lots of ideas on how, Web 3.0 could improve social media. All right. We talk about, Elon Musk bid to buy Twitter, how, he wants to, like open source the algorithm. That's a very Web 3.0 value. I don't think we're ready to like put all tweets on chain or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. But we're seeing lots of conversations about how at least the values of Web 3.0, like transparency, trustlessness, decentralization, are desirable, censorship resistance. And this is definitely a step in the right direction. Let's see here. Yeah, Lens, definitely. Yeah, Spotify and support for NRTV. Yeah, definitely. We talked about that yesterday. Awesome. Yeah, so somebody talking about Coinbase ENS integration. Yeah, let's talk about some other things that have happened in the space that are big for the advancement of this technology. So I mean that's one thing to understand is like a lot of people are super bummed about crypto prices going down. I mean, hey, yeah, me too, definitely. But you have to see the bigger picture that the space is still like forcefully advancing. Like we have stuff like this coming out. We have people like Coinbase shipping big integrations, and in many ways, these are the seeds of the next wave of technological innovation. And that wave of technological innovation is typically what corresponds to cryptocurrency price increases over time. Okay, that's basically what happened. During the last cycle that I was a part of, is we were in the trenches, building and shipping. Okay, and the new tech, the new use cases are definitely what gives the price increase trend staying power. And we've sort of already laying the seeds for that type of thing. So let's look at some of those. So this is definitely really cool. So Coinbase is letting people access Web3 from within the Coinbase app itself, and this is a potentially new user experience. So Coinbase has done a lot. They've made a lot of big jumps forward in the Web 3.0 space, especially towards decentralized applications. So Coinbase Wallet has got a lot of improvements. Okay. With the ability to access stuff on your mobile application, also your browser here with like MetaMask, something like that. But now they're taking a step forward to where you can use decentralized applications inside the Coinbase app itself. So don't forget, the Coinbase app is something that routinely hits like top 10 in the Apple and Android app stores whenever like markets get really frothy. So we're not talking about like convincing people to install MetaMask, something they've never heard of before. It's like it's already something that gets installed a lot. Okay, and so taking that application and then adding new functionality where they can start actually doing things on chain rather than just like trading within Coinbase itself, like being able to tap into those users so that they can actually use Uniswap, use other things, and discover what's possible from within the app itself. Okay, you can discover dApps right from the Coinbase app, right? And you can open it, use it with Coinbase Wallet. They also launched the ability to add fiat payments for dApps. Let's look that up. Let's see here. I can't find it. There was a I was trying to find it, but basically they're adding the ability to like accept like, onboard Dapp payments with, fiat. If somebody's got a link, let me know. I had saved it and now I can't find it. But yeah, that's big. We got lots of other technical innovations that are, following the trend of adoption. We saw some cool stuff ship from the Fleek team. So Fleek is definitely a provider that we use a lot on the channel. And, they're doing big things in the Web 3.0 space. So let's just see here. I lost it. Got too many apps open. Too many apps, too many browser tabs. So one thing is, Fleek is a hosting provider we've talked about, like I said, we've used a lot in tutorials, inside our trainings, where basically you can, deploy front-end applications or websites really easily, from your GitHub, but you can also do things like deploy them to IPFS. They've got great IPFS support directly from their platform, okay? And you can do things like they've been shipping a lot of new features. So one of them is that you can now have a sign-in with Ethereum directly in your application, okay? So like, you have a sign-in with Ethereum, basically. We talked about this a ton. Like this was a huge thing in Web 2.0 where, you had sign in with Facebook, sign in with, Google account, whatever. Now they can sign in with Apple. And we talk about the potential for Web 3.0 to be an identity management system and how that can be a big benefit to give people less friction with applications. Because like I said, you're a user of the entire network, not just each individual app. And so they can just request access about you and you can manage that identity on chain itself, okay? So, Fleek is definitely hopping on that trend, adding the ability to sign in with Ethereum, okay, or some other. You can check which, wallet you want to use, MetaMask, Rainbow, Wallet Connect. Add that pretty easily to your application. We also have improved functionality for hosting on IPFS using an ENS domain. So how Fleek handled the gas cost of updating IPFS hash on ENS. Do you need to pay gas on each deployment? Thanks to IPNS, you only have to pay gas once. Any future deployments are 100% free. So basically, this is a way to take your ENS handle and point it to a IPFS website. Because you have to understand, like, whenever you're deploying an IPFS website, here's how IPFS works. IPFS is the interplanetary file system. So basically, it is not a blockchain. It works kind of like a blockchain, where it's a decentralized file storage system where basically you have nodes that store redundant copies of the same information. In this case, it's just files. Like one of the most common use cases is NFT metadata, right? If you have an NFT, like a JSON file or a picture, that's associated with the NFT, you put that on IPFS. And then that file doesn't change. That's the whole benefit. Is once it's there, it's immutable. It's you don't update it. And so when you're talking about an IPFS website, well, how do you push changes to a website that you might want to change? Well, basically, you just create a new version. Like that's kind of what you have to do, and then you point the URL to it. So the whole benefit of having a immutable website is not so much about the trustlessness, because you could always change the domain of the website underneath. You could always point the domain to a different website underneath the hood, unless you're accessing it directly with the IPFS gateway all the time with the same IPFS hash. Okay, so what you do, like the benefit here is like censorship resistance. So if you want to have a website that can't be taken down, you can't have like a, hosting provider like deplatform you. That's kind of the benefit of having IPFS. So what do? Basically, you got to deploy a new copy of it every time. So like that's how IPFS works. If you have your hash is a reference to a file location in most cases, or a directory. So basically what you do is, let's say you build a website in React.js, you build your site you create this build directory that's got all that gobbledygook, like minified JavaScript and stuff, and all the directories for the assets. If there's any pictures or anything, that's all like in this directory that you can just open, from the entry point and interpret. And then you point that thing to the IPFS hash, and then that knows how to open your website. And then anytime you make changes, you gotta rebuild and deploy. That's basically how regular web development works, but you're not updating the file system. You're just like, creating a new one, and then you get a new hash back, and then you point your domain name to that. And the whole point of this is that whenever you do that, you can just repoint your ENS domain name to that new IPFS hash and not have to repay the gas costs. Somebody says ENS governance token. Yeah, ENS has a governance token, but ENS also, let's see, the token and the service are two different things. Yes, so ENS is the Ethereum name service. So basically, it's NFTs. So you have an NFT that is like a domain name, all right? You can point it to your Ethereum wallet. The whole idea is giving a human readable name to something that's hard to read. So, an Ethereum address is hard to read. Like if I just told you an Ethereum address, you couldn't remember it, right? But if I told you, twitter.eth, you can remember twitter.eth. It's like, hey, you send me a tip to twitter.eth, or like, pay for this at twitter.eth. Right, you can remember that and just type it in. But if I told you, 0x ABC123456129, whatever it is, right? You couldn't remember that. So that's the benefit of ENS, is human readable name. You do that with NFTs, and then you have this separate governance token that helps govern the protocol. Yeah, somebody said Robinhood announced standalone non-custodial Web 3.0 wallet coming soon. Definitely. Yeah, we saw FTX also take a stake in Robinhood as well, especially after the valuation dropped a lot. Somebody said starting from scratch, I go right into Solidity. Yes. Should I start with Rust or Solidity for building smart contracts? So unless you got a really good reason to learn Rust, I would definitely recommend Solidity for lots of reasons. Number one, Rust is a harder programming language to learn for most beginners. Okay, it's a lot more low level. Okay, Solidity is a lot more high level. Reads a lot more like JavaScript or Python. Simpler to use for most beginners. The other thing is like unless you're like trying to do core development, or like you're totally sold on developing for Solana, Ethereum and Solidity have the strongest developer ecosystem, and so you can get a lot of mileage out of that. Think about it like, do you want to go into a city that's densely populated with a lot of opportunity, or do you want to go out into like a like ghost town that could have some future potential, right? But like if you get in there and you get stuck, I shouldn't say ghost town's a bad analogy, but like a brand new, like, do you want to be a pioneer in a brand new neighborhood that may not, end up flourishing into the same type of thing? Or do you want to go live in an established neighborhood with like, lots of benefits, right? That, that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to live in. That's what I would choose, because, the future of the other technology is way less certain, in my opinion. And also, you don't want to be in there as a beginner and like try to find answers to problems and you can't figure out what the answers are at all. Someone says Rust is really popular, so it's more flexible if you need to work outside of crypto. I mean, that is a benefit, right? But I mean, I wouldn't try to hedge your bets too much. Like if you're going into crypto, like I would just go into crypto. That's where there's a ton of opportunity. Um, I wouldn't really try to like have one foot in, one foot out. That's not really probably a recipe for success. If you're looking at a backup plan, like let's say you get into crypto and you want a backup plan, the easier thing is just going to be to learn something like you're going to have to learn another programming language in addition, most likely you're going to have to develop some other programming competencies outside of just smart contracts. Like you got to learn to write tests for the smart contracts and some scripts, so that's probably going to make you have to learn either JavaScript or Python. My recommendation is always JavaScript because it's more flexible. You can write websites with it, you can write backends with it, you can write lots of different stuff. So, let's say that you decided crypto is not for you, or, you think that you're worried that the crypto industry is going to go away, which is definitely not. And you just want to go work back in Web 2.0. Well, I wouldn't just pick Rust because you think it's got use cases outside of crypto. I would just use the knowledge that you've acquired to go, get a different job if that's what you really want to do. What do you think about crypto blockchain development from scratch? Definitely, definitely learn it from scratch. Is it just crypto language itself? It's kind of useless. It needs a front end, so you need a second. I mean, not necessarily. Like you can become a pure smart contract developer, right? But you're going to need to have some skills outside of that. Like you can write tests in Solidity, but you're probably still going to need to write some other scripting types of tasks to interface with your smart contracts. Most likely, you need a second language. Somebody says Rust has faster execution time than Solidity. Do you think more projects in the future will be using it? Yeah, that's the problem. You're really betting on future expectations, and we just don't know exactly what's going to happen with the adoption of the technology long term. My bet's definitely on Solidity. My bet's definitely on Ethereum. You have to understand it's not always like the best thing that wins. Sometimes it's just the thing that gets the most adoption, and if you want to follow the adoption, I understand like Solidity programming language has some things that like are left to be desired 100%. Like I got started in Solidity like back on version 4 like when they had a lot of frustrating things that have improved, and like we had really immature developer tools. So I get it. Like there's some things that are quite frustrating about the programming language itself, but you don't want to just like pick something that increases developer happiness if can't find answers to problems, because that's definitely not that's definitely going to decrease developer happiness significantly if you're just banging your head against a wall and can't figure out how to do stuff, or if the demand dries up for that specific skill, which it's not drying up for Solidity anytime soon. Do I think blockchain will sustain the coming recession? Absolutely. Now, will crypto prices stay depressed? It's quite possible. Um, but is blockchain demand going anywhere? No. I mean, could some really speculative projects like completely die? 100% they can. But I mean, we're like I said, think about how many people raise money. The consensus raise, I think it was like $450 million. you know, uh, Before all this stuff went down. They're still on a hiring spree. You know, uh, Everybody's building for the next wave. All right, let's see what's am I going to cut my hair? What do you think? Should I cut my hair? Wondering when we get something like wallet connecting to mobile Dapp. Yeah, we're already getting that kind of thing. I think I've definitely seen that before. Let's see here. Let's see here. Can I master blockchain development in 3 months? You definitely can. Go check out the video on my YouTube homepage of Cosimo. He did it in like 2 months. Now, I would take, I would be realistic about your expectations. How much time do you have? How hungry are you to jump in and really master this? What's your prior programming experience? The question is, it is possible. It's not easy to do that in 3 months, but you can. Now, also, what do you mean by master? Like, can you get good enough for somebody to take a chance on you in the workplace? You can. Doesn't mean you're going to be like a senior level blockchain developer in 3 months. That's probably not going to happen. You might be a genius, but that's unlikely. Let's see here. What is my financial advice? I'm not giving financial advice.
Welcome to the ALOS employee interface. Please enter your name and select your...
All right, so we got a lot of gaming and metaverse NFTs popping up. Let's take a look at the trends on chain, because I think this is definitely something to watch out for. I'm seeing lots more of these projects pop up here as a trend in the NFT space. Again, I'm checking the trends on chain right now, so I'm looking at new contracts that have been deployed in the past. Let's see here, 7 days. Okay, with significant financial inflows into them. So this is my routine that I do on a daily basis, how I find new projects before they hit social media and everybody starts talking about them. Of course, I'm talking about this now, but if you want to access these tools and see how I do my daily research process, get notified about real-time events on chain, then definitely check out the block site link in the description below. So anyways, I'll just show you a couple examples of the trends that I'm seeing pop up. Okay, so this one's a scientist NFT project. All right, this had $2.3 million flow in the past 7 days. I just put out a video on Monday about the developer making $2 million off their NFT project. Like, we're still seeing NFTs launch that are making millions of dollars in a single drop. Okay, so let's just take a look at some of these and see what's like trending, like what types of NFT projects are trending. So one of them that I'm keeping my eye on, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy any of this stuff, but I am noticing trends. Are these basically NFTs that are kind of getting powered by these metaverse games? Okay, so one of them, like I was showing you a minute ago, this one right here, the scientist NFT, we can look at it on chain. Okay, basically, this augmented, I like it, lab scientists. Okay, so you can see the NFTs here, but what's the experience? So if you look at their website, you can see it's based upon this, like, we've kind of seen this trend move away from these like generic minting pages that's just like copy and pasta to these actual games, like minting games where you can like enter your name. Let me just see here. All right. See if I can. I don't want to connect my wallet right now, but anyways, yeah, you can basically enter in the interface, basically play a game, and like go into this virtual world in order to mint the NFTs. We saw this with the Babby project before. That's definitely a trend that I'm seeing take off. We've seen some of these NFTs still continue to like 2x in a matter of hours or days, even in the midst of like the crypto downturn. So the NFT drops are still happening. Like the volume has decreased some, but it's still definitely still hot. And we're seeing smaller trends continue to take off in that space. So again, we got over 2 million flowing in the past 7 days. So if you want to find out more projects like this, I use the tools that I use on a daily basis, and definitely check out that link down below. So let's look at actually might check on So let's go ahead and check out the crypto markets real quick. So we have got some red on the charts. Bitcoin's back down to $29,000. Ether's back down to $1,900 basically. So I haven't really extensively looked at the markets this morning, so I'll just take a look at it in real time here. My guess, if I had to guess, is that the stock market's also down. So let's just go check. Yep. Definitely seen some red in stocks today. So, I just definitely don't think that crypto is my thesis right now is this: stock market go down, crypto go down. I don't think there's a situation where the stock market continues to drag lower and that crypto finds stability and starts increasing in price. So, until we get clarity on what happens with the stock market, I think crypto is going to continue to get whacked. Or just hold ground, right? Or just sort of slowly sink. For the long term, I'm of course still bullish, but there's just so much economic headwind that it's hard to gain any ground while things are the way they are. Somebody says, for me, coding started to make sense with React. Dive and Solidity using Truffle, Hard Hat with React. Mechanic, Charity types perspective. Yeah, that's cool. This is even an earlier stock market was volatile. Yeah, totally. All markets tied to stock market, definitely. I don't know if it's all tied to stock market in the sense that all markets are influenced by the same thing right now, which is economic headwind and what's going on with the Fed, interest rates, inflation. It's a common thing. So when two things look like one another, there's three logical conclusions you can draw. One's influencing the other. They have a common influence, or it's complete coincidence. Not coincidence. I don't think one's following the other. I think they're both influenced by the same thing, which is just garbage time. All right, everybody. With that being said, there's still, like I said, Web 3.0 space is still forcefully advancing. We got the Lens protocol launching today. We got lots of new developments happening with Coinbase's new tools, all that type of stuff that I'm showing you. We're just continuing to lay foundation for the next wave of applications to get built on here. Insane amount of opportunity for blockchain. This is a perfect time while the space is quiet, to double down on your skills. It's exactly what I did in 2018, 2019, and it paid off big time. So if you want to get started on that, how can you get started today? Of course, subscribe, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. That really helps these videos out, so the more we can learn about blockchain. And definitely go to my YouTube homepage. You can find those free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you'll take a master shortcut entirely, I actually become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for